So remember, these are the circles that Kissinger was moving in while he was still a graduate student. He wasn't just another Harvard intellectual. He was corresponding with CIA Director Allen Dulles, consulting with Gordon Gray at the Psychological Strategy Board, and networking with the power brokers shaping Cold War intelligence. All of this on top of his CIC work in Germany, managing the transition of Nazi scientists, and possibly their exotic propulsion research. And once Kissinger got his PhD, these ties were developed further, in tandem with his academic development. In 1955, Kissinger started to write critically of Eisenhower's nuclear strategy of massive retaliation. It was the threat of responding to an attack, conventional or nuclear, with an immediate all-out nuclear barrage. Kissinger claimed this was outdated now that the Soviets maintained their own substantial nuclear arsenal. He argued that the United States should be ready to fight limited, localized nuclear wars. His writing was noticed, and he was invited by McGeorge Bundy, a colleague and professor at Harvard at this time, to work with the Council on Foreign Relations. The CFR, a private organization tied to elite circles of business, government, and academia, was a crucible for Cold War policy. Much like a think tank, it served as a discussion club of the most powerful and successful leaders and well-connected figures of foreign affairs. Walter Isaacson's biography of Kissinger describes the most exalted enterprises of the CFR to be the so-called study groups, where around a dozen or so distinguished individuals and wise men met regularly over the course of 12 months to explore a particular subject in depth. Each group had a study director, usually an up-and-coming academic, who would collate their discussions into something that may or may not be disseminated to government or the public. For example, McGeorge Bundy was a part of a study group in the late 1940s that examined Marshall Plan aid to Europe. Some of its members should sound familiar. Eisenhower, before his presidency, was involved, along with future CIA Director Allen Dulles and future CIA Deputy Director Richard M. Bissell. Also contributing was George F. Kennan, just after writing his famous long telegram under the pen name X, which shaped Cold War policy of containing Soviet communism. So the who's who of international diplomacy. Flick open your modern history of the United States, and these guys are all over it.